My name is Mackenzie Stanley, and my speech is entitled Climate Change. Climate change is among one of the most alarming environmental issues that the world faces today. This phenomenon does not simply involve the rise in Earth's temperatures, but so much more. I hope during my speech to not only to inform you why climate change is in fact a problem, but also to persuade you why you should do your part in your everyday life to stop this cascading event. It is stating that the rate of global warming has accelerated nearly 3 times faster over the past 30 years. The only way that we can stop this from slowing down is to do our part in our everyday lives. I chose this topic because I believe it's something that I believe in very strongly, and because I feel it's something that if something's not done, it's not going to solve itself. We need to take action now. Within this speech, I plan on explaining exactly what climate change is and why it poses such a large threat to our environment, and I'm going to follow it by explaining a couple of simple things we could do in our everyday lives that could stop this, such as using renewable energy sources. And lastly, I'm going to explain how, if we don't do something, the detrimental effects that climate change could have on our everyday lives. First, I'm now going to explain why climate change does in fact pose such a large threat to our environment. Climate change is an extremely important topic, however, many people don't see it as a problem. Several facts gathered by experts pertaining to the rise in temperatures help to prove that it is a problem, and it's stated that human activity is mainly responsible for this increase in temperature. National Geographic states, quote, "Global warming caused by human activities that emit heat-trapping carbon dioxide has raised the global temperature about 1 degree Fahrenheit over the past century." NASA continues to go on to explain, quote, "Most climate scientists agree the main cause of current global warming trend is human expansion of the greenhouse effect, which is the warming that results when the atmosphere traps heat radiating from the Earth towards space." End quote. The panel continues to go on to explain how it's concluded that there are nearly 90% probability that this increase in Earth's temperature is caused by human activity. And this is what the main cause of the greenhouse effect within the past 50 years. The warmer temperatures are predicted to have an increase in Earth's average temperatures, influence the patterns in the amount of precipitation all over the world, reduce snow and ice along with permafrost, rise sea levels, and also increase the temperature of sea water, increase the acidity in the oceans, and it's also going to increase the intensity, the frequency, and the duration of all extreme natural storms. It's going to shift ecosystems characteristics, and it's also going to pose threats to human life. Although this is an increasing problem all over the world, scientists have found an answer that could help to stop this. In order to stop the devastating effects of climate change, energy-saving methods could be used. By simply switching to a renewable energy source, we could easily limit the amount of carbon dioxide emissions that are emitted into our atmosphere every single day. According to the Union of Concerned Scientists, quote, "Electricity production accounts for more than 1/3 of U.S. global warming emissions, with the majority generated from coal-fired power plants, which produce approximately 25% of the U.S. global warming emissions. Natural gas-fired power plants produce 6% of total emissions. In contrast, most renewable energy sources produce little to no global warming effects at all." By increasing the supply of renewable energy sources, it would allow us to easily decrease the amount of CO2 that's released into our atmosphere every single day. A groundbreaking study explored the feasibility of environmental impacts associated with generating 80% of the country's energy by renewable energy sources, and it was found that approximately 81% of these emissions could be decreased if we were to use renewable energy sources. Now imagine if nothing was done about this increasing problem. The effects that climate change are having on our environment are absolutely detrimental. According to many scientists, an increase in Earth's temperature is also increasing our oceans by two ways. One is by the melting glaciers are adding that water into our oceans, which is also increasing the sea level. And second, by increasing all this water, it's causing the oceans to expand, leading to an increase in sea temperatures. When ocean surface waters that provide the energy that drive natural storm increases, it's causing an intensification of these storms. Though it's not going to cause an increase in the number of storms that we experience annually, it's going to increase the destructive capability of these storms, which is obviously detrimental. It has been discovered today that the ocean absorbs some of the CO2 that we emit every single day. However, within the future, the seawater is going to become so saturated with the CO2 that it's no longer going to be able to absorb anymore. When this happens, all these emissions of CO2 are going to be kept into our atmosphere. When this happens, it's going to increase the greenhouse effect. Acidification of the Earth's oceans could also potentially cause disruption of marine life by photosynthesizing plankton and scum, which are responsible for absorbing a lot of the CO2. Shells of many marine life also will begin to dissolve due to this acidification, which is going to cause a release of CO2 in the atmosphere, which is also going to increase the greenhouse effect. Now, these are just a few ways that climate change is affecting our environment. I hope I have now persuaded you to see that climate change is in fact a very serious threat to our environment, and for you to see that you need to do your part. If we all stop and take time to change our energy sources to renewable energy sources, this could no longer be a problem. So the next time you go to use your everyday energy sources, just stop and think about the irreversible damage you could be causing. By simply switching your energy sources to a renewable energy source, we could be stopping this cascading event. So just think, is it really worth it to destroy the planet that we live on just to use these energy sources? We need to plan for our future generations, and that starts by using renewable energy sources. Thank you for your time.